Most men walk past women who are already interested in them and never realize it. They think attraction begins with action, but it actually begins with awareness. Every woman communicates desire through small signals, a shift in tone, a longer glance, a sudden change in rhythm. Most ignore it. The few who see it, control it. Machiavelli would have said, "He who understands what others hide holds the advantage before battle begins." This video isn't about chasing women. It's about mastering perception. Once you learn how to read interest, you'll never need to guess again. You'll know when to speak, when to pull back, and when to strike. Stay until the end, because once you see what others miss, you'll realize seduction isn't about effort. It's about vision. And if you're truly ready to change your life, write in the comments, "I'm ready to change." Because once you make that decision, everything shifts. Let's begin. Here's the first step to spot women interested in you instantly. Feel the shift before you even see it. Before attraction becomes visible, it becomes energetic. You can sense it in her tone, her pace, her breath, long before she admits it to herself. A woman who's drawn to you leaks signs in micro moments that most men never catch. Picture this. You're at work leaning over a table during a meeting. You make a point, calm, confident, certain. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice her posture mirror yours for just a second. Her voice softens when addressing you. Her smile lingers slightly longer than protocol allows. That's not friendliness. That's instinct breaking through control. Or imagine a cafe. You're ordering coffee. She's behind you in line. She adjusts her hair as you speak to the barista. When you glance back, she looks away just a heartbeat too late. Her body language says what her lips won't. You've disrupted her equilibrium. These are not coincidences. They're micro-investments, her subconscious signaling curiosity before logic can intervene. Most men miss them because they're too focused on performing, talking, or proving something. But the Machiavellian man does the opposite. He stays still. He observes. Machiavelli would have whispered, "A ruler who acts before he observes acts for another's benefit, not his own." Your calm silence becomes her mirror. The moment you stop chasing signs, signs begin to appear. Every interaction hides this tension beneath the surface. At work, at the gym, in a friend's group. Your task isn't to act fast. It's to collect data, to see what others ignore. And here's the paradox. The more observant you become, the less you need to do. Because awareness itself radiates confidence, and confidence, when silent, is the loudest form of attraction. Once you can feel that invisible shift, you stop wondering if she's interested and start deciding how to respond. That's where the game truly begins. Here's the second step to identify real interest. Notice when she starts mirroring your world, not your words. When a woman feels drawn to you, her curiosity turns into imitation. It's subtle, almost invisible, but once you see it, you'll never unsee it. At work, she suddenly shares your opinion during a meeting, even if she once disagreed. At the gym, she shows up around the same time you do, claiming it's coincidence. During a night out, she mentions a hobby you casually brought up weeks ago. These are not random overlaps. They are emotional reflections. Her subconscious is testing what it feels like to belong in your frame, to move inside your world without resistance. She's learning your rhythm. It's the same instinct that makes people imitate powerful leaders or admired figures, not consciously, but because their presence feels safe, magnetic, and dominant. Machiavelli would have said, "Men follow the customs of those they wish to please." In modern dating, that means the moment she starts reshaping herself to align with your essence, she's already emotionally invested. You'll notice it in small ways. The way she uses your expressions, the music she suddenly listens to, the way she repeats a phrase you once said as if it were hers. Every repetition is a silent confession. You've entered her thoughts. But here's where most men ruin it. They rush to validate it. They get too excited, confirming what should remain unspoken. The Machiavellian move is different. You acknowledge it without reacting. A faint smirk, a calm look, a shift of silence that says, "I see you." And that subtle awareness changes everything. Because when a woman feels seen without being exposed, her curiosity turns into craving. She starts wondering what else you notice, what else you understand, what else you could unlock inside her that no one else ever has. That's the moment when interest becomes fascination. And fascination, once born, is almost impossible to undo. Here's the third step to spot genuine interest and turn it into intensity. Provoke emotion without chaos. Most men misunderstand tension. They think it's about teasing, showing arrogance, or playing games. But real provocation isn't noise. It's precision. It's the ability to press lightly on a woman's emotional pulse, to see how deep her curiosity runs. Picture this. You're at a dinner with mutual friends. Conversation flows. Laughter fills the air. She throws a playful jab at you, something light, testing your composure. Most men would rush to defend themselves, explain, or counterattack with ego. But you, the Machiavellian man, simply pause. You smile faintly, lean back, and let silence hang for a moment. That pause alone unsettles her balance. You've shown that her words don't dictate your state. You do. That's when her energy changes. Because deep down, every woman feels drawn to the man whose mood cannot be hijacked. The man who can receive her fire, contain it, and turn it into warmth instead of chaos. Now imagine a more intimate setting. A one-on-one coffee or quiet moment after work. She makes a statement to test your values, to see if you'll bend to please her. I don't really like men who... You don't rush to prove you're the exception. You let her words breathe. You look her in the eyes, calm, amused, and say something that reverses the pressure. Then it's a good thing I'm not here to fit anyone's checklist. You don't argue. You redirect. That's Machiavellian power, gentle defiance that commands respect and awakens desire. Machiavelli would have smiled at that move and said, "He who cannot master perception must submit to it." In other words, every provocation is a small stage, and whoever stays composed becomes the director. Provocation isn't about conflict. It's about revealing truth. When you challenge her assumptions subtly, without hostility, you show her something rare. A man who can stand his ground without losing grace. And paradoxically, this kind of steadiness excites her, because it signals control. It signals strength wrapped in restraint. You'll notice how she reacts differently after moments like these. She'll lean in more. She'll seek your validation unconsciously. She might try again, just to feel that tension rise and fall, because it feels alive. At that moment, you've succeeded. You've made her emotional pulse visible. You now know exactly where she stands, and how much further you can lead her. Because once she realizes that you're not another man who bends to every reaction, she begins to wonder what it would take to make you react. And that's when her curiosity transforms into pursuit. Here's the fourth step to make her attraction evolve into something magnetic. Build tension that grows in waves, not spikes. Desire doesn't happen in an instant. It's constructed. It's the rhythm between anticipation and release, between what's shown and what's withheld. Most men either smother it with eagerness or starve it with coldness. But the Machiavellian man? He moves with precision, feeding just enough energy to keep her chasing the next spark. Picture this. You're talking to a woman who's clearly intrigued. Her body leans in, her laughter comes easier, her eyes linger a little longer. Most men would rush to capitalize, compliment too much, reveal too soon, ask for more. You do the opposite. You match her warmth, then cool it slightly. You let a few seconds of silence stretch between your smiles. You let the air thicken with what's not said, because that's how you turn attention into longing. Desire is built when she starts wondering, what's he thinking? What does he want? Why hasn't he said it yet? Those questions are the invisible threads of emotional seduction. Once she starts asking them, she's already invested. Now imagine a social setting, maybe a group dinner or a night out. You give her attention, but not ownership. You tease her once, then shift your focus to someone else with effortless composure. You don't perform indifference, you simply remain unbothered. That unpredictability, your refusal to be predictable, ignites curiosity. Machiavelli would have said, "Power belongs to those who control rhythm." Because rhythm creates emotion, and emotion creates attachment. Here's the deeper truth most men ignore. Escalation is not physical first, it's psychological. It's the way your energy rises when you look at her, then falls back into silence. It's the way your voice lowers when you speak directly to her, creating intimacy even in public. Every small contrast, calm and tension, distance and closeness, teaches her to crave your presence like a pulse she can't regulate. When you master this law, she starts feeling desire without understanding why. It's not about what you say or do, it's about the emotional climate you create. And that's the kind of attraction that doesn't need to be chased, because it keeps pulling her back, even when you're gone. Here's the fifth step to make her attraction expand instead of fade. Use absence as a weapon, not a withdrawal. Most men panic the moment connection begins to fade. They chase, text more, call sooner, trying to keep things alive. But desire doesn't die from distance. It dies from predictability. Machiavelli would have whispered, "When presence loses power, absence must rule." Absence, when used right, multiplies your presence in her mind. Because human desire feeds on imagination, and imagination grows best in silence. Picture this. You've had a great conversation, subtle tension, shared laughter, the feeling that something could grow. The average man would text the next day, desperate to keep her attention warm. But you don't. You disappear for a while. You leave a vacuum. And in that vacuum, her mind starts to move. She replays moments, wondering if you're still thinking of her. She remembers details you barely noticed, your tone, your confidence, the calm with which you ended the night. And the more she remembers, the more she feels. Because she's no longer observing you, she's imagining you. It's the same principle used by the world's most magnetic leaders. The king who doesn't attend every gathering becomes the one everyone watches for. The artist who speaks rarely becomes the one everyone quotes. Scarcity breeds fascination. But here's the key. Absence without purpose is emptiness. While she wonders, you build. You hit the gym, focus on your craft, grow in silence. Because when your return finally comes, it must feel earned. Your reappearance should have weight, like a chapter turning, not a repeat scene. Think about how powerful that is. While every other man fills her phone with noise, your silence becomes a presence. Your name alone carries tension. So when you finally re-engage, maybe days or weeks later, she feels it instantly. Her guard lowers, her curiosity spikes, her energy softens. Because in your absence, you've become larger than life in her imagination. That's the true art of absence. Not punishment, not manipulation, but transformation. You turn space into strategy, and when done right, it's not her attention you earn, it's her obsession. Here's the sixth step to make her not just desire you, but respect you. Speak and act like the center of your own world. Attraction without respect is temporary. A woman may be drawn to your looks, your confidence, or your mystery. But if she doesn't respect the man behind it, it all fades the moment someone stronger appears. And respect doesn't come from dominance. It comes from alignment. The alignment between your words, your tone, and your boundaries. Picture this. You're talking to a woman who subtly tests your authority. Maybe she interrupts you, challenges your opinion, or playfully dismisses something you've said. Most men would rush to defend themselves, or worse, laugh nervously to stay likable. But you don't flinch. You pause, smile slightly, and say, "You have a point, but that's not how I see it." Your tone is calm, not aggressive, not defensive, calm like someone who doesn't need to prove a thing. That calmness is power, because it shows her that you exist outside of her frame. You are not emotionally moved by her reactions. You are a world of your own, and she is simply visiting. Now imagine you're at work, and she's the type who's used to men trying to impress her. You don't flirt. You don't over-engage. You speak clearly, concisely, focused on your mission. But when you do give her attention, when you do look at her, it's measured, intentional, and rare. She feels something new, tension mixed with respect, because she realizes you're not chasing, you're choosing. Machiavelli would have said, "The man who commands himself commands the room." That's the frame of authority. Not control over her, but control over yourself. Every time you speak with calm dominance, you rewire the dynamic. She stops testing your limits because she can feel them. She stops trying to lead the rhythm because you already set it. And most importantly, she feels safe in your power. Because beneath her tests, her jokes, and her curiosity, every woman is subconsciously searching for one thing: a man she can trust to stay composed when the world shakes. When you embody this energy, everything changes. Even silence feels like communication. Even a glance feels like a command. You no longer ask for her respect, you evoke it. And once a woman respects you, her attraction deepens. Because now, it's not just about who you are, it's about who she becomes in your presence. Here's the 7th step to make her truly crave you. Master the rhythm between pursuit and restraint. Most men ruin attraction not because they lack confidence, but because they can't feel timing. They strike too early or wait too long. But attraction, like power, is a dance of timing. Machiavelli would have smiled at this truth. Fortune favors those who move when tension peaks. Picture this. You've built connection. There's chemistry in her tone, subtle smiles in her pauses, a softness in her eyes that wasn't there before. She's opening the gate. This is where most men either rush in, confess too soon, get physical too fast, or talk endlessly to secure what's already theirs, or they hesitate out of fear, letting the spark cool. You do neither. You observe. You sense the rhythm. You act when she's ready to be led. For example, you're out with her. You've built tension with silence, eye contact, and the occasional teasing comment that lingers longer than it should. When the moment peaks, you lean closer, not to speak, but to lower your voice just enough that she must come closer too. That's how you strike, not through aggression, but through gravity. In another context, say texting after days of absence, your move is not to flood her phone, but to drop a single intriguing message. Something like, "I had a moment today that reminded me of you." Then you disappear again. You give her a spark and pull back before it burns out. The key is contrast. The more self-controlled you are, the more unpredictable you seem. And unpredictability is the oxygen of desire. Here's what few men understand. The closing move is not always about taking. Sometimes, it's about ending. Ending the night while tension is high. Ending the conversation before it turns dry. Ending your presence when she still wants more. Because when you leave her wanting, she can't stop thinking. And the more she thinks, the deeper her emotions root. This is the Machiavellian rhythm of seduction. Act with purpose. Retreat with mastery. Every move leaves an echo. Every silence creates anticipation. Every step pulls her deeper into your gravity. You don't chase her desire, you orchestrate it. You don't beg for her attention. You teach her mind to crave your presence. And when you master this balance, pursuit and pause, presence and absence, you no longer get women. They gravitate toward you. In the end, everything you've learned, every glance, every pause, every calculated silence, comes down to one principle. Perception creates reality. A woman doesn't respond to who you are. She responds to how you make her feel about who you are. And when your presence communicates control, direction, and calm intensity, her perception of you transforms from another man into the man. Machiavelli would have said, "It's not enough to be powerful. You must appear powerful." Your tone, your timing, your restraint, these are not small habits. They are signals, subtle, invisible, but deeply felt. They tell her that you don't need her validation. You command it by existing in your own gravity. Think about it. In a world where men chase constantly, you move differently. You speak less, but every word carries meaning. You act slower, but every action feels deliberate. You don't try to impress, you make her imagine. That's the secret. Power doesn't speak loudly. It's sensed. And when you embody that kind of energy, women don't just want you, they feel pulled toward you. So remember, seduction isn't about tricks, it's about perception. Change the way you carry yourself and the world, including every woman who crosses your path, will begin to treat you differently. If you've made it this far, you already know this truth. Words can attract, but presence conquers. Now the next move is yours. Will you keep talking like every other man, or start embodying the one she can't forget? Because from this moment forward, every word you speak should remind her of one thing. You don't chase desire, you become it. If this opened your eyes and you're serious about becoming the man who's in full control of his life, my book is now available. The Undeniable Man, Built to be Chosen. It's a strategic guide for men who want to attract, lead, and dominate in their love life and beyond. Whether you're single or in a relationship, no fluff, no tricks, just pure, powerful strategy that will set you apart from 99% of men, and that you will actually use every day. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, don't just keep your thoughts in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember these lessons, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.